Yo, my dons, make sure you hit that like button, comment, subscribe, and obviously hit the bell for notifications. So we just saw there Billy Joe Saunders, aka Mr. Dutt, Boo Boo Andrade. Now I gotta give him his credit here. Well, to an extent. I've seen some people talking about how this was another DAZN setup, and the guy was. Let's get it right here. Billy Joe did go life and death with this dude. I don't even know his name, if the truth be known. I've got to be 100% transparent on this one. I don't even know the man's name. Billy Joe going life and death with him, but the man looked like he ran out of gas, and ultimately he was outboxed by Billy Joe. That said, what are we still doing seeing this dude, Billy Joe, 50 years into his career, fighting this caliber of fighter? When is he going to step up? And just quickly, some people have been saying, oh, Billy Joe, he didn't duck Boo Boo Andrade, all this kind of business. What we do know is, Boo Boo Andrade, even if you want to say that even if you want to say Boo Boo set him up and some madness like that, and just quickly, by the way, on that note, people saying that Andrade set Billy Joe Saunders up. Billy Joe's actually admitted and proved that he wasn't set up by DAZN and Eddie Hearn. Do you know how he admitted and proved? The fact he joined Eddie Hearn and DAZN. Well, let's get it right. When that fight was meant to happen, October last year, Andrade versus Saunders for the belt, Billy Joe Saunders pops dirty, and everyone was, because at that point he was with Frank Warren, and everyone started going on about, Eddie Hearn set him up and DAZN set him up. 2-2s now. What happens? Billy Joe ends up leaving Frank Warren and joins Eddie Hearn. So that there proves Billy Joe was a dirty fighter. Simple as that. Because if you genuinely believe you've been set up by Eddie Hearn, Andrade, and or DAZN, your last thing you do is go and join them and be smiling about it. And that's what happened. So Billy Joe is quite clearly admitted he was dirty. And not only that, Andrade initially gave Billy Joe the chance. In fact, Andrade was the mandatory for Billy Joe's WBO. He sat there patiently waiting. Billy Joe went over to America, popped dirty, and then 2-2s. Andrade gets the WBO belt and then gives Billy Joe Saunders the chance. Didn't have to do that. Didn't have to do anything. Gives Billy Joe the chance to win his belt back at the same weight. What does Billy Joe do? Does he say, you know what? I'm clean now. Let's get it, boo-boo. Let's get it, poo-poo, as Billy Joe called him. No, he didn't want none of that. Didn't want none of that. Instead, he runs up to 168 and fights some stiff who gives him a good buzzing as well, by the way. Billy Joe gets buzzed for the first time in his career versus a nobody. Billy Joe could go down as one of the most wasted fighters in the whole of boxing history. He's done nothing in his whole career. Oh well, YB. He fought Andy Lee 7 years ago. He fought Chris Eubank Jr. 17 million years ago, back in 10 BC. No, the problem with these cats here, Fury and Billy Joe, they say the same things. Fury bangs on about what he did 10 years ago. Billy Joe bangs on about, David LeMou, David LeBum. David LeBum is the stiffest, most bummest fighter in history. Yeah, let's get it right. Golovkin, triple G-spot, knocked him out with a jab. And Billy Joe went life and death with him, 12 rounds, couldn't hurt him, couldn't put him down. Meanwhile, Golovkin, who we've seen now, has been relatively exposed. He's not actually that good when he comes up against top fighters. But nonetheless, Golovkin knocked him out of a jab. But yet, Billy Joe goes life and death with the guy, can't even put him down. Anyway, let's focus on today. Essentially, let me give Billy Joe his props. Did he win? Did he do his job? Yes, he did. He stopped him, which is a big change for Billy Joe. That said, once again, it's the caliber of fighter. And I'm sorry, Billy Joe says, I'm the most YB, I'm the most docked man in middleweight history, all this kind of business. What we do know is, Boo Boo Andrade, who is equally, in fact, Boo Boo Andrade is the one who's ducked. He's the one who can't genuinely get fights. Yeah, Billy Joe got offered to fight with Boo Boo. With Andrade, he didn't want it. Simple as that. Billy Joe didn't want it. He's trying to be, for his whole career, Billy Joe hasn't actually learned. His whole career he's spent chasing ghosts. He's been chasing Golovkin. He's been chasing Canelo. What he doesn't understand about Golovkin is Golovkin wants Canelo. Golovkin has a weird fetish about Canelo. That's all he wants to do. He don't want to do anything but Canelo. Yeah, Golovkin. I've spoken to Golovkin's camp. They've told me all Golovkin does is dream about Canelo. As simple as that. Meanwhile, Canelo, he's too busy fixing fights with Kovalev and whatnot. He's got other stuff to do. He wants to go up to heavyweight and fix a load of fights. I've heard that if AJ loses against Ruiz, they're thinking about sticking AJ in there and just falling over against Canelo. That's what I've heard. I've heard in the grapevine. I'm telling you now, that's what Eddie Hearn's looking to set up, a super fight. Yeah? AJ versus Canelo. And what happened is AJ will go in there and just fall over in the 11th round when nothing's happened for the first 11 rounds. That's what, just like the Kovalev fight, simple as that. And people would say, oh no, YB, oh no, Canelo hit him hard, YB, all this kind of business. It's exactly the same as the Kovalev fight, yeah? Oh no, YB, Canelo hit so hard, he knocked out AJ. That's the kind of thing that will happen, no word of a lie. If AJ lost against Ruiz, people will be telling me about how, oh yeah, well, Canelo knocked AJ out. That's what they'll be saying, genuinely. It's a fix, simple as that. Anyway, I keep digressing here. Fact of the matter is, this dude, this random Don, I don't even know who he is. He's in there with, and this is the problem as well. And I don't actually rate Eddie Hearn for this, because what he should have done, they want to get the clout from the whole point of fighting on this undercard is to get clout from the fighters. Well, if you want to get clout, you've got to put good fights on. Now, it wasn't a boring fight, but to put the name, well, there wasn't no name there. You should have stuck Andrade on there on the undercard. Andrade versus Saunders. Maybe they'd rather do that as a main show, but either way, they could have put that on the bottom. Yeah, get good fights going. Instead, you got a whole load of bums on there, and I'm tired of seeing Billy Joe fight bums. He talks about being the best. Start getting in there and earning it. I understand you want the Canelo fight. So does everyone. Get in line. I understand you want the Golovkin fight. So does everyone. Get in line. And what you need to do is start earning it. Canelo has, to be fair to him, he's shown he'll fight people who've earned it. As an example, that's what he's telling Golovkin now. Golovkin, stop trying to sniff my knickers when I'm out of town, and go and fight some people and earn it, and I'll give you the shot. Billy Joe keeps begging, and he hasn't learned. He tried this at Frank Warren. Beg. Did it work? 5 years later down the line, still no Golovkin fight, still no Canelo fight. In them 5 years, did he fight anyone worthwhile? No. Too busy begging. Go and fight Boo Boo. Go and fight the people who actually want it. Stop begging. It doesn't look good, and it's not getting you anywhere. Yeah? And rightly so as well. What is this, boxing or is it begging? It's not called begging, it's called boxing. Get in there, get stuck in. You talk about how hard you are and how great a boxer you are. You should be able to box Andrade's head clean off then, shouldn't you? Yeah? Go and beat a top 5 fighter. And then you can talk about Golovkin and Canelo, in my opinion. You don't just walk into them kind of fights. Don't get me wrong, some people do, but if you're as good as you think you are, that's going to... Basically, what I'm trying to say is, Billy Joe has got to give Golovkin, Triple G spot, and Canelo no excuse to duck him. Currently, they're sitting there thinking, you know, what's he got for me? He's not a big payday. Yeah, he's a bit awkward, possibly. He's a back foot runner. He wants to run around and play around. To be fair, he's not as bad as Fury. I'll give him his credit. Billy Joe does know how to mix it up on the inside. To his credit, he's not like Fury. Fury's completely useless on the inside. But to be fair to Billy Joe, I'll give him his credit on that one. He does know how to mix it up, and he's relatively he has some good inside game. Fury has no inside game. You see, even in this fight here, you saw Billy Joe. He's quite slippery on the inside. I'm not sure how well that stuff works against big punchers like Triple G Spot or Canelo. But that said, like I said, I'll give people their credit when credit's due. The fact of the matter is, you need to do something. You need to put Alvarez and Triple G Spot in a position where they can't say no. Yeah, how you don't do that is by fighting Akhmadiev, who no one's ever heard of, and Ahmadinejad, all these different random dons. Yeah, get in there and get putting some scalps on your resume, even if you have to go over and knock Charlo out or whatever. Does that make sense? Go and get some of these mid-level dons who are milling around the place. Boo Boo, Charlos, them ones there, the ones who've got a bit of clout. Go and take their clout, and then you can start talking. At the moment, you've got no wins on your resume, and you want to talk about, oh, I'm the most ducked fighter in the world. To be the most ducked fighter, you've got to actually fight some people who want it. And we know, for me, what turned me off with Billy Ho was the fact that Andrade, he's actually struggling to get fights as well. The difference is, he came along and said, listen, let's get it on then. Me and you, the winner takes all essentially. The winner gets the Canelo fight, obviously. But you turned that opportunity down. That there would have been the tiebreaker that there would have been a blatant Canelo setup. Instead, you shot both of yourself in the foot. And you essentially, what it comes down to, you ducked the fight. No, someone else explain it to me. Because he ducked that fight 9 months ago. What has he done since? Fair enough. If he'd have fought Golovkin or if he'd have fought Canelo already, I'd get it. I'd say, well, you know what? He didn't fight Andrade because he had something else lined up. You've had nothing else lined up. Once again, you're just sitting on the sidelines, fighting bums, complaining. Get in there with Andrade. He wants it. He's looking for smoke as well. And I don't even think Andrade's that dangerous. But that said, Billy Ho don't want no parts of it. He don't want no parts of him. A new man sitting there saying, oh, YB, Billy Ho would box Andrade, he'd box Poo-Poo's head right off. Well, if he boxes his head off, go and do it then. I just don't get it. All this, same as Fury, does all this talking about, oh, Anthony Joshua, his tall stiff. Talking about people being stiff, 2-2s. The man asks you, "Are you gonna fight? When you gonna fight AJ?" And you talk about, well, I'm thinking about retiring. I don't know how Vlad did it because he well, anyway, I've talked enough, man. Bottom line is, this fight was better than Fury's. Put it that way. On a scale of 1 to Fury, it was better than that. But still, the name. I don't know who this Don is, and you weren't that decisive. It was you lost a few rounds in that fight. I'm not being funny. And like I said, I don't know who this man is. You were mixing it up in there with this man. You shouldn't really, in my opinion, you should have probably done that in the 3rd round or the 4th round. Anyway, I'm not a hater. I just want to see some people actually stepping up and not just step. Anyone can. This is what people don't get. People say, "Oh, well, Billy Joe will fight Golovkin. He'll fight Canelo." That isn't really stepping up. Anyone who won't fight them, who won't fight for $5, $10 million, $15 million. That's not really proving much. I'd get in there with Canelo. I'd get knocked spark out for $15 million. That doesn't really prove nothing. What proves your caliber as a fighter is when you take risk. And let's get it right as well. It's not like the Buber Andrade fight was for peanuts. Billy Joe was getting a record payday 4 times over. He was offered $2 million for that fight, $2.5 million. So it's not like it was little mash. It's big money, career highest payday. So I just don't get it. It's weird. I feel like you got to take risks. You got to believe in yourself. And at this point, Billy Joe hasn't proven to me he believes in himself. Bet on yourself. Beat Andre, and I'll make videos talking about how Canelo and Golovkin need to stop ducking Billy Joe. Until then, he needs to, I don't know, fight some names. Anyway,